Hey, welcome back to Bandwagon fans. This is Jeff, and tonight I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently. Rather than reviewing a movie or talking about a movie, I'm actually going to be talking about a TV show, specifically season 2 of The Punisher. And I'm not really going to do a review of the show overall, but rather I really just want to do kind of a deep dive, do an analysis on the character of Punisher, aka Frank Castle, and the issues that I had with this character as it played out in season 2. This is also just the first time I'm working with a script and working with a teleprompter, so apologies in advance for any flubs I might have. Anyways, so getting right into it, for me, the Punisher does not work as the lead character of a show. He doesn't work because the character is stunted. It depends on traits that prevent an arc from developing. The reason Punisher, aka Frank Castle, cannot develop lies within the lie. When developing a character, writers often develop the story beginning with a lie the character believes, then gradually forcing the character to confront that lie and grow as he or she accepts a new truth. In Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge believes that he is not responsible or even connected to the misery and hardship that surrounded him. After being visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, he learned that it was his business practices and of those like him that was creating the misery, and that he had the ability to effect a positive change in the lives of his employees and townspeople. Scrooge goes from miserly to generous, Tiny Tim survives, and we have an excellent example of the change arc. Other types of character arcs include the fall or decline arc, in which someone starts high and usually due to their own hubris falls mightily. Think Hamlet falling into madness, or Tony Montana falling into madness before being executed in Scarface. Another type of character arc is the growth or maturity arc. In this arc, characters do not fundamentally change, but they do grow as they develop new skills to confront the challenges in their story. An offshoot of this archetype is the alteration or shift arc, in which, again, the character does not fundamentally change, but their perspective shifts as the situation around them changes. Steve Rogers displays both of these variants in Captain America, the First Avenger, and Captain America the Winter Soldier. Steve Rogers' foundational belief that he has a duty to stand up to bullies is never really challenged in either movie. In the First Avenger, he gains new skills and abilities and a new body, but his core character and beliefs never change. In the Winter Soldier, he never wavers in his commitment to others, but his perspective shifts as he learns that he went from working for the people standing up to bullies to working for the very bullies he once fought against. The brilliance of the writing from Christopher Marcus and Steve McFeely, writers of the Winter Soldier, was to recognize that Captain America's foundational character trait is that he doesn't change. So they had to change the world around him to keep him interesting as a character. Looking at Punisher Season 2, what is the arc for Frank Castle? From the start of the show to the end, he doesn't fall, grow, or change his perspective. He has all the skills at the beginning that he has at the end. The closest thing to a perspective shift he displays is not hating Amy, the kid he spends the show protecting. But this is the same person he risked his life for in episode 1. Deciding to let a teen girl have her own gun instead of tying her to a bed and using her as bait is not exactly a compelling arc. There really is no development in the Punisher himself, and the reason is that the writers, like Castle himself, are unwilling to confront the lie at the center of his character. So what is Frank Castle's lie? The things he tells himself that everyone around him, including us, the audience, is a bunch of crap. Including us, the audience, knows is a bunch of crap. Actually, there's a few lies. The big lie at the center of all of them is that Frank Castle believes himself to be a good person in a bad world. Like Jules in Pulp Fiction, he is the righteous man beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. More on Jules later. Frank believes the ends justify the means, and he believes his skills are infallible. His tactical and technical prowess means no innocent people are caught in the crossfire. He never fails to save someone. Everyone he kills is guilty of everything he believes they are. For Frank Castle, there are no real consequences to his actions, only consequences to his inaction. So there is no moral dilemma. It's not a question of whether he's willing to sacrifice a few people to save many more. He never has to sacrifice anyone. If I presented you a problem, this one guy is going to kill 10 people, or you could kill the one guy. And I guarantee that he really is going to kill those other people, and that there is no chance that you will accidentally kill any innocent people. With these parameters, it's easy to justify killing the one guy. But if the question is the one guy might kill 10 people, or he might not, or that he definitely will, but in killing him you would have to sacrifice 2 innocent people, then it's not such an easy problem to solve. But Frank Castle is never confronted with those problems because the writers don't want to confront those problems. Remember Jules? What happened when Jules confronted his own lie and realized that he was not the righteous man, but was in fact the tyranny of evil men? Well, his story ended. He went walking the earth like Cain in Kung Fu. Now that could be an interesting story to tell, but it wouldn't be the Punisher story anymore. So the writers are stuck, unable to let Castle confront his lie, grow, or even die, because any of those scenarios would mean the end of the Punisher. There was almost an attempt to let Castle confront his lie and create an actual change, but the writers ran from that possibility almost as soon as they introduced it. In episode 10, The Dark Hearts of Men, Castle believes that he has shot 3 innocent women while attempting to take down Billy Russo. He is in shock at the thought of killing innocent people, and Billy gloats that he has beaten the Punisher by proving Castle is no better than he. However, the inner conflict faced by Castle in the aftermath of this scene is a false dilemma. The deaths of the 3 women were not the natural consequence of his actions, but were forced on him unknowingly by Russo. Their deaths could have created a shift in his perspective, that maybe he shouldn't shoot at walls without knowing what was on the other side. But had the event stood, it would have reinforced rather than challenged his belief that he had to stop the tyranny of Billy Russo at any cost. Unfortunately, the writers wouldn't even allow this subtle shift to stand, and halfway through episode 11, we learned definitively that Castle didn't kill the women. Russo had killed them long before Castle showed up. Move along, folks. Nothing to learn here. Now let's escape from this hospital and get back to killing bad guys. There is one other moment of at least a perspective shift when Castle spares the life of John after learning that John's kids were being held captive. Castle realizes that some people may be redeemed if given a chance, which is a genuine moment of growth for him that stands to the end of the show. Well, not exactly. The show ends with Castle charging a room full of gangbangers barely old enough to vote and mows all of them down with a machine gun in each hand. Just kidding about all that redemption stuff. Punisher is here to stay. So is there a way to write the Punisher so he acts like a real person and not just a prop for violence porn? Well, yes. One way is to make him the antagonist rather than the protagonist and use him to tell some other character's lie. This is how he was used in Daredevil Season 2 and why he worked so well there. Daredevil had his own lie he believed, that he could remain a good person by never killing the bad guys. Punisher came along and showed him if you don't kill the bad guys, you put more innocent people at risk. Their scene on the rooftop arguing over these points remains the most riveting scene in any of the Marvel Netflix shows. Another way to create an arc is to let the Punisher die in a grand sacrifice, like Logan in his final movie. This might have been the option had the writers of Season 2 knew going in that all the Netflix shows were getting canceled, but hindsight and all that jazz, right? A third option would be the Jules Kane route. I could see a series where the Punisher wanders the earth, vowing never to kill again, without becoming his new lie, only to learn that never killing the bad guys means letting innocents die needlessly. A kind of reversal of roles with the Daredevil. It would probably look a lot like the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk show. While there hasn't been any confirmation as of shooting this video, it looks like this is the end of this iteration of the Punisher. As popular a character as he is, he's sure to turn up again, but hopefully the next time we see him, the writers and creators will have the courage to force him to face the consequences of his actions, and, maybe grow a little. It would make for a more memorable and compelling show. Just a thought. So, just want to thank everybody for watching. That was this is my analysis of the character of Punisher, and I kind of enjoyed this process. I hope in the future to do more of these kind of analysis, and definitely to get better with a teleprompter and writing a script. But for all of you that are subscribers, go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know how I did, and looking forward to hearing more comments from you. Subscribe, like the video, and stay on the bandwagon.